Welcome in, Braves Today, bravestoday.com. It is all brought to you by Active Wealth Management. Go to annuity360.net for your free book. Be sure to tell Ford we said hello. He is Lindsay Crosby. I am Ben Taylor. We are still general managers of the Braves during the offseason because the current general manager can't make any decisions until 5 days after the World Series. So
he could re-sign our own guys. Pierce Johnson got re-signed. He could re-sign our guys. He can't sign free agents.
But he's still real limited. We have more power right now with free agents than he does.
True.
So we're going to go ahead and run with that. And I start out with one free agent, and let's stay with pitching because the theme has been this entire time that we've done this exercise, Lindsay, is pitching and left field, or pitching and somebody that's got a big bat that we can either platoon in left field or have come off the bench. So let's stay with pitching because that seems to be of everybody's. Even though you and I have discussed it, the pitching was not as bad as everybody thought it was, but still that seems to be a concern. Blake Snell is a possible option that's out there.
Ooh.
And he is a big name. With that comes some baggage, such as age. I mean, it's not Charlie Morton old, but he's still getting up there as far as a pitcher is concerned. He's been up and down. You and I have talked about this off the air as far as he's had great years where he can't find the plate, and he still is in the running for a Cy Young, even though he walks 50% of the people that he faces. But he is a guy that has been out there as far as a hot name of going somewhere, and Atlanta could be a possibility.
Yeah, so wins the 2018 Cy Young with a 1.89 ERA with Tampa Bay age of 25. Going to win it this year with a 2.25 ERA with San Diego. And in a vacuum, I don't hate the addition of Blake Snell. We've talked about it's likely Max Fried makes it to free agency. And so you have a lot of your younger pitchers, your top-of-the-line guys, your prospects are righties. So signing Blake Snell in a vacuum is not the worst thing in the world. He's a lefty arm. Again, 2.25 ERA this year. Here's my concern with Blake Snell, okay?
Okay.
All right, so one, he led baseball in walks, okay? So 99 walks, not great. 5 walks per 9 innings. He had the highest hits per 9 innings of any pitcher. Blake Snell's 2.25 ERA was luck. And I know that's a bad word on this show because we've talked about it.
Here we go with hopefully Philly fans are not listening right now.
Yeah, I know, right? So 2.25 ERA, his fielding independent pitching. So ERA when you strip out the defense. This is what you can control. Walks, hit batters, home runs, that kind of stuff. His fielding independent pitching was 3.45. So over a run higher. His expected ERA from StatCast based on the batted balls that he gave up is a 3.77. Now, you've talked before, and I agree with you, that this offense is good enough where you don't need a guy to come in and pitch to a 2.25 ERA to be successful in Atlanta. Spencer Strider had some bad luck this year. His fielded independent pitching was much lower than his ERA, but he still led the league in wins because the offense is so good, right? My problem with signing Blake Snell this offseason is you're not going to be paying him like Heath put up a 3.77 ERA this year. You're going to be paying him like he put up a 2.25 ERA and coming off of a second Cy Young victory by the age of 30. He's a Scott Boras client. He's going to be expensive. He's going to be $25 to $30 million, if not more. And again, in a vacuum, I don't hate adding Blake Snell. Fastball, curveball, very reminiscent of a Max Fried and kind of what Max Fried likes to do. But I just don't think you're going to get good value for the price of a Blake Snell. So as a fan, great. As a GM, which that's this exercise, right. I don't think I want to pay the premium for Blake Snell this year. If I could have got him off of 2020 when he went 8-10 with a 3.45, great. If I could have got him off of 2021 when he pitched to a 4.2 ERA, great. He's not going to recreate this season, but you're going to be paying him off of this season for the length of this deal.
So I'm going to take my GM hat off right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to put on my fan hat and the reason I say I'm going to put on my fan hat because I love the name.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you can say we're rolling out a 2-time Cy Young Award winner
as our number 3 next year.
As our number 3 guy. And now we're not going to, if that happens, now let me put the GM hat back on.
Yeah.
We're not going to be paying 3 guy money. He's going to be wanting 1 guy money. Mm-hmm. And so that's where you get torn. But as a fan, I mean, I would love the fact that if you've got Fried next year, which is going to happen. I mean, it's the year after he's going to be gone. So you're going to have Fried, and then, you're going to have a great lineup. So you got your number 1 guy. You got a great lineup because everybody's coming back pretty much. I mean, 95% of the people are coming back. Who knows if Olsen's going to have the year that he had this year? Who knows if Ronald's going to have the year that he had? But still, even if they have subpar years from this previous year, they're still going to lead the league in a lot of categories regardless.
Yeah.
And instead of us winning games 10-2, we're going to be winning games 6-2. So I'm okay with that. And I think somebody like a Snell would thrive in that type of environment.
True.
However, you got to stick some money away. You got to have some cash. And it seems like if you get him, you're going to be buying a 3 guy at 1 guy pricing. And I don't know that's you going and, you're paying new car money for a used car. And it's just, that's just dumb. That's just dumb money.
Yeah. To me, it's something where we've talked before. I think it was last show, maybe, about like, ideally, you add 2 starters this offseason, right? And one of them might be Morton coming back. If you add Snell, that's it. Like, that's it for starters being added this offseason. You can't afford to bring in 2 guys. And so, I mean, because again, Snell's going to be $25 to $30 million a year on a multi-year deal. And would I rather have, say, another year of Morton and a Jordan Montgomery versus having just a Blake Snell? I would, because like you said, the offense is so good. You don't have to have the best possible pitchers. You can get by with number 2s and 3s when you have Spencer Strider up front long-term and you have Max Fried to add to him in 24. And then you have time to develop your own cheaper 1s and 2s out of your system with an AJ Smith-Shawver, with the Hurst and Waldrop, guys like that. So in a vacuum, I don't hate the addition of Snell. In reality, I don't think I want to spend, like you said, I don't want to spend number 1 money on a number 3 guy. And I mean, the walks, 13% walk rate. It was literally like 4th percentile in all of baseball. It's a lot of red on StatCast, and that is a very, very bright spot of blue. And he's due for some regression, both in the ERA and in the effectiveness of not letting those batters that got free passes get on base, score. So
it's all about managing your money smartly, just like it is at Active Wealth Management. So you can go to annuity360.net.
That was good.
For your free. Ford is going to be so proud of me. He's the founder and president of Active Wealth and host of the Active Wealth Show on AM 920. The Answer is the author and informative book of Annuity 360 and our biggest sponsor. So go ahead and say hello to Ford and he's going to give each and every Braves fan a free gift. That book, Annuity 360. Just go to annuity360.net and provide your contact information. He'll send you that complimentary copy. Now, it's important to note Ford and his team and Active Wealth specialize in assisting pre-retirees and retirees, and Ford and his team are eager to assist you and make your financial resources the most they can be, like the Braves need to be doing. By the way, Ford's registered investment advisor, Brookstone Capital Management, manages a remarkable $8.5 billion in assets. They also don't have a luxury tax like the Braves do, as far as making sure that they that they don't go over. That's the kind of stability that you want on your financial journey. Tell Ford we said hello and go to annuity360.net, just as AA should, to find out how to manage your money wisely. Lindsay, you talked about picking up a couple of pitchers. The other pitcher's name that I'd like to throw out there before we move to a position player is Aaron Nola. He's been in the news as of late just because he's been with the Phillies. We faced him. We've seen him a lot this year with the Braves facing the Phillies. I think it was 17 times. I think it ended up being an 8-9 record the Phillies had against the Braves, even though they love to pound their chest and say that they did so well against the Braves. Congratulations on getting to the National League Championship Series. And
very excited for you guys to get your second place in the NLCS rings.
Yep. Congratulations. As much as you guys made sure you ridiculed us, I hope you're listening. And I hope you realize that, one thing that I love the meme going around when Harper was rounding the bases and staring at Arcia was looking down. Arcia was looking at his world championship ring, something that Bryce Harper does not have. So Aaron Nola is somebody that is going to be a free agent. And a lot of Braves fans, since they've seen him, they like what they saw out of him. He's had his ups and downs this year as far as the Phillies are concerned, but still, he would be a solid 3. Is he somebody we could pay solid 3 money to and still get him?
I think Aaron Nola could probably be a solid 2. He's probably also a $25 to $30 million guy. And the reason for him being there is a little bit different from Snell. Snell, you're paying for this season, right? You're paying for what he did this year. The last full season, so we're not counting 2020, the last full season that Aaron Nola started less than 32 games was 2017 when he started 27. He is one of the most, knock on wood, one of the most consistent starters in baseball. He posts every 5 days. He has put up in the full seasons, he has put up 3 200-plus inning seasons out of the last 5, and that fourth one was 193 innings, and then he had a 180 inning season. So he is incredibly consistent. All of those, either his ERA or his expected ERA was somewhere between 3.5 and 4. He had a couple 3 1/4s in there on an ERA. He had a third place in the Cy Young in 2018 where he had a 2.37 ERA, and all of the expected stats were right in line with that. He's a very well-qualified number 2. It's probably $25 million or so. That's just kind of the going rate for guys like him. Yeah. He may get a little bit more depending on how aggressive his agents are. It's not Scott Boras, which I'm happy about. He is a Southern guy. He went to LSU. He's from Louisiana. So you have to think that's a little bit better than Snell, who's from, I think, Washington State. If I'm picking between these two guys, I'm probably picking Aaron Nola over Blake Snell simply because the body of work is almost as good from at his peak where he's been. You're not paying for his peak. And I think he's more consistent year in, year out than Blake Snell has been. You put him behind this Braves offense, who knows what he might do?
Well, and the good news is you get the experience that he's had in the NL East. So he would know, scouting reports would already be fresh on his brain as far as some of the teams that he's playing.
Here's the nickname Bryce Harper hates. Call him this. It'll drive him nuts. That's the kind of thing you're paying him for.
Yes, exactly. And so my only concern has been his consistency and has been his lack of getting injured, because that usually, let's just go back to Mike Hampton, as the Braves are due to have an injured pitcher come in. sign him for some money.
We didn't exercise those demons with Fried this year. That wasn't exercising those demons.
No,
he wasn't on a long-term deal.
That still wasn't a Hampton type deal. And so guys like that usually scare me because they've never been injured. They haven't missed any time, and he's getting north of the 30 mark as far as his age is concerned. So it makes me wonder, do you sign him and then we're the team that he decides to all of a sudden start having some aches and pains and injuries? So that would be, and that's my concern with both of them. I say that with both Snell and Nola this time around, because we're not talking about grabbing a guy that's 23, 24 years old and giving him a year to be at that 4 spot and work his way up to a 2 spot. We're talking about guys that we're going to bring in. We want now to be a 3, possible 2, depending on how Fried works out with his blisters next year. Yeah. Who we sign could very well be a 2 most of the year.
Yeah.
And
you need him to perform. And then in 25, they are by default the 2 unless one of the prospects steps up and takes it from them. Yeah.
Correct. And so that is both my positives and negatives on Nola. I love him. I liked when Atlanta faced him. I thought that he did well against Atlanta, one of the most high-powered offenses in the league. And so I liked him, especially that he's a free agent. But again, it comes down to money. Lindsay, I just don't know that the Braves have $25 to $30 million a year to play with if they want to add something else. They have it.
Yeah,
they can say, yes, we'll add Aaron Nola, but either they're going to have to give up few guys in the trade in the farm system, and who knows? I mean, that could even be some pitchers that could work out well for Atlanta down the road that they may have to give up just because they can't bring in a name to be in left and a pitcher, or bring in 2 pitchers if you use all that money on a Nola or a Snell.
Yeah, the elephant in the room here is no long-term deal that Atlanta has signed so far. Not Olsen, not Riley, not Strider, not Acuna. Nobody is breaking $22 million a year. Now, supposedly, Atlanta's offer to Freddie Freeman would have pushed him over that limit. And if Max Fried resigns, it's going to be for more than $22 million a year. But no Braves contract yet has broken that $22 million a year threshold. And so that's kind of the big elephant in the room is, do you exceed that for a free agent? Because if you get these guys like a Nola, like a Snell, you're going to have to do that. And so what does that do to your ability down the road to supplement the roster, all that kind of stuff? The money is there. You can sign either one of these guys if you want to. It's what else can you do? And you touched on it. You can't bring in a name for left and bring in a guy like an Aaron Nola or Blake Snell. You have to go a tier down while you're shopping if you want to do both. You know, you have to go for like an Eduardo Rodriguez or somebody if you want to do both. And I don't know which direction AA is going to go. It doesn't feel like Atlanta is the type of team that really has gotten involved with those top tier free agents. So I'm hesitant to predict, Atlanta is going to sign Snell or Nola. But at the same time, what have we learned from this postseason? Just about every team has those 2 stud pitchers at the top. And unless you pay Fried more than $22 million a year, you're not going to have that after 2024. And so maybe that's something where AA says it's time to go past that limit so we can make the rotation. Can you imagine a postseason rotation of Fried, Strider, and Nola for a 1 through 3? Oh my gosh. Charlie, Bryce Elder could be your number 5.
I mean, everybody forgets about Elder. I mean, we got Morton coming back. You got kids in the farm system that have had glimpses of greatness. I mean, we could literally go from everybody talking about how bad the pitching was this past year, even though it wasn't bad. I'm sorry to tell you guys. I know y'all keep saying that, but it really wasn't bad. No. To this next year, I mean, no kidding. There could be 3 all-stars on the mound that are the starting 3 pitchers. And I'm talking like all-stars during next season that could be the 3 starters for Atlanta. And so it should be interesting. Hey, you guys drop your names in the comments. We would love to see, your general managers as well. Why not go ahead and give you the hat just like Lindsay and I have the hat? It's all been brought to you by Active Wealth Management. Go to annuity360.net for your free book. Tell Ford we said hello. On one of the next episodes, Lindsay and I are going to talk about maybe some possible former Braves that could be headed back to Atlanta and who they may be, whether it be in the field, whether it be on the mound, or who we might see in a Braves uniform next year, because we get to be GMs until 5 days after the World Series. So next week, we're just going to absolutely kill it. He's Lindsay Crosby. I'm Ben Taylor. That's Braves Today. Lindsay, as always, I greatly appreciate your time, sir.
Thanks, buddy.